Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Tuesday, that can mean only one thing. It means Duane Long is here to share wisdom. And those of you around the country will be happy to know it is a beautiful day in Ohio across the state, Duane.
No doubt about that. It's anytime you're getting elites to join the Buckeyes, it's a good day, even if it's raining.
I can hear some noise there, and I like it. We're going to talk, obviously, here about a big lineman who's coming to Ohio State. This is Duane's specialty. This gentleman's name is Matthew Jones out of Brooklyn. We got the commitment this weekend. There has been much chatter about Mr. Jones and which side of the line he will play on. He looks to be about 6'4", 310, 315 pounds right now, somewhere in that neighborhood. So he has the ability to be maybe that classic one technique that has so far eluded this staff. That said, he appears, well, at least 24/7 Sports now has him rated as an offensive guard, now a number 3 guard in the country, and seems to think he'll be a guard at Ohio State. I heard Bill Kurlick say the same thing to me on Bucknuts Live this past weekend. Duane, what is your vibe on Matthew Jones? Where would you put him once he got to Ohio State?
I put him as a 3 technique tackle. I think he could be big enough to be a 1 technique, but this kid's so athletic, you put him in 3 technique tackle. That's why 247 had him as a defensive tackle. You look at his especially his sophomore film, where I think that once he was locked into Ohio State, the film they put up was more geared toward offensive line, and he is a dominating offensive lineman. But I don't understand choosing guard over defensive tackle. I just don't. It's one of those locked-in rules. If you've got a big that's athletic enough to play on defense, you put him on defense. And he is. He's dominating on the defensive side of the ball. So I'll never understand this move. Yes, he is an outstanding offensive lineman, but he's even better on defense. I don't get it, but we're still getting an elite guy. Maybe they'll decide later. Maybe Larry Johnson will win the argument, and they'll at least try him on defense and see that that's where he belongs. I put up some numbers yesterday in a thread about Jones, and it's just you look to the NFL for the elite of the elite, and since the year 2000, there have been 5 drafts with more than 1 guard taken in the first round. There have been 5 drafts with no guards taken in the first round. On the other hand, there's only been 3 drafts with less than 3 defensive tackles taken in the first round. And there's been no drafts with more than 3 guards taken in the first round. It's just, those are the 2 positions we're talking about. Defensive tackles tend to play guard on offense. If they put them on offense. And those numbers just are hard to argue with.
There's no question that if you're trying to get to the NFL and get paid, it's better to be in a different position. Although I will say this, and this is going to be my Cowboys color shining again, I think the Cowboys have one of, if not the best guards in the country right now, Zach Martin. They drafted Martin as a guard. Martin played left tackle at Notre Dame. So what you play in college is not necessarily a complete predictor of what you play in the pros, but I agree. If it were me, I would love to see Jones on the defensive line. My guess is this is a result of the fact that they're just so stacked on the defensive line that they can move him to guard and then flip him. I will say this. if you look at pictures of him and read about him, you would think he's kind of a floppy belly type. You should put on the tape. This guy looks like he could put up 18 and 10 on the basketball court in high school. He's an athletic kid. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. That's really at the point of what I'm talking about. When a big is that athletic, you put him on defense. You need a guy that can move, a guy that can run, a guy that's got some agility, and you see that in Jones. And we're going to put him on offense at guard. At tackle, it'd be different. He's just not long enough to play tackle. But I don't understand the move. I'm just glad to have him. If he's probably going to be an outstanding offensive lineman. If you look at the film, he's got punch, he's got explosion, he's got all the tools to be a great offensive lineman. So that's not going to surprise me if he is outstanding. But like I said, it's just one of those etched in stone recruiting rules. Bringing in new personnel rules is you got a big that can play defensive line, you put him on the defensive line somewhere.
Yeah, and talking about the NFL this early for someone like Jones to me is completely okay, because I would be shocked if Jones doesn't turn into an NFL player. Keep in mind, he's not finished with high school when he weighs this much. That would lead one to believe he's going to be a little heavier when he gets here and it's going to be a huge dude. So we will see. Speaking, and we've talked about this guy a little bit, but there's a buzz. Anybody who sees Nesta Rivera's tape, this is a defensive lineman of American heritage. We all know Andrew Chatfield, his buddy, committed a little bit ago. Rivera is verbally committed to Miami right now. But anybody who puts on the tape tends to come back with a wow. Ohio State is certainly involved in recruiting him and trying to flip him. If you go look at the Miami 24/7 Sports message boards, they've all but said they think he's going to Ohio State, which is always a good sign. Were you equally impressed when you watched Rivera's tape?
Rivera is the most underrated defensive lineman in the country. He may be the most underrated football player, period. This kid is absolutely an anchor. He is a one technique. We've been talking about one techniques that seems like for eternity. This kid was born to be a one technique tackle. He is absolutely dominating. How he's ranked as low as he is, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Love to have him. This is a kid that he's just going to stand in there and he's going to take on double teams. He's going to soak him up. And if you don't double team him, he's going to make plays. That's what you want in a one technique tackle. That's what you get in Rivera. Absolutely love to have this kid. His film is just, you have to watch it and you're like, why is this kid ranked? I can't remember where it was. He should be at least a top 10 defensive tackle. No doubt about it. So that talk is just music to my ears.
I got a good vibe on it too. Usually when the opposition, in this case Miami, is thinking he'll come here, that's even better. Yeah, right now, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite, he's the 23rd ranked defensive tackle in the country.
That's insane.
That doesn't sound accurate. We will see. I'm not sure the timeline for Rivera, but I like the fact that he's named Robert Nesta Marley Rivera. Anyway, let's talk linebacker. Let's finish up with this. They have two linebackers in the fold. Taraja Mitchell out of Virginia, Dallas Gant, fine Ohio fans, one on the inside in Mitchell, one on the outside in Gant. It looks like they're going to sign one or two more linebackers. Obviously, the number one choice is spelling or pronunciation here. Paoloi Gaetoi out of Bishop Gorman. That ship has sailed to USC, though they will stay in the mix for him, and it would take a commitment for him if he committed, I think, 2 minutes before the end of signing day. The other guy they're really after is Solomon Tuliapupu. I appreciate them recruiting guys with these names. Another Californian out of Modern Day, but only 11% crystal ball to the Buckeyes. It looks like the two guys in the mix, and Bill has reported on this great recently, Kevon Pope out of Virginia, Michael Harris out of Georgia. Kevon Pope's 80% on the crystal ball. Michael Harris, 62%. Would you take both? Do you like one more than the other? What's your feelings on Pope and Harris?
Well, see, I look at first of all, I'm a believer that if Tuliaupupu decides to become a Buckeye, I think we're done. I really do. I don't know if he's going to make a decision before the other two. I don't think we take either one of Pope or Harris if we can get Tuliaupupu. But he's a take no matter what. The other two, it's really, I guess I've been leaning toward Harris. He's just so fast and explosive and so instinctive. I just like his film a little better, but I'm concerned about the size with him. We've confirmed that Pope is 6'2", 210. It was confirmed independently. We look at Harris, and they're trying to say that kid's 6'2", 213, and you can look on the film. There's just no way that he's bigger than Pope. And 6'2", 210 is kind of low end for a linebacker, even though it seems like we're seeing smaller guys with the way the game's played these days. That I don't think Harris weighs 200 pounds in the film that we're seeing him at. He just does not look like he's that big a kid. On the field, just looking at him as football players, I don't think there's a much difference between them. I like Harris a little better. But either one of them are outstanding players. If we really had room, I would take both. If I had to pick, oh, Dan, I don't know what I would do. That's what I say. I need to see him in the same room, see how big Harris' frame is. That's really the only way we can measure this is by weight, and that's not a really good measurement. I need to see the frame. Because he's smaller doesn't mean he can't get bigger, as big or bigger than Pope. It depends on what kind of frame he's got. If he has a good enough frame, I'd go Harris. If I just didn't think he was a kid that could carry more weight, I'd go with Pope.
Interesting. I agree too. They both look a little bit thin. Harris was here this past weekend. He's a long, rangy kid, but like you said, some of the time those guys turn out to be exactly what you want. We're not exactly looking for Raekwon McMillan always in the middle anymore, so it is very interesting. We will finish with this. The courtship seemed to take some turns at times, but it does appear now that when it's all said and done, the Christian Blues Smith out of Huber Heights, Wayne, will be a Buckeye eventually. Bill Kurlick even said on the message boards last night he'd be shocked if that didn't happen. Your vibe on how this is probably all going to turn out and Blue Smith becoming a Buckeye?
Well, see, to me, I look at this film, and this is just a really special receiver. He's outstanding. It's about, I don't really care if he grows into an H-back. I don't think he's going to grow into a full-blown tight end. He's not going to be an inline guy. He's going to be that H-back, the true H-back, the original H-back, which is a hybrid tight end fullback. And that's something that Urban Meyer has wanted to bring into this program ever since he got here. I mean, because of all the off-the-field stuff, you don't like to use the name Aaron Hernandez, but that's kind of what he could grow into. And Hernandez was absolutely a special athlete on the field. They're a difficult matchup, the true H-back. And they line him up off the line of scrimmage. You don't want to put this guy in a position where he's really a receiver, and you want him blocking on linebackers and defensive backs, not defensive ends, which a true tight end, inline tight end, does have to do. And he's going to be a hard matchup for tight end or for linebackers. He's just going to be a little bit too athletic. So if LaChristian Smith does grow into that, great. That's just another element that we can add to the offense. if he stays at receiver, he is going to be such a terror against smaller defensive backs. You can look at the film and see that that's what he's doing right now. He's just dominating these smaller guys. So I'd love to have him as a Buckeye and not worry about, if he outgrows it, so what? We've got that original hybrid position that he can fill in, and it's something we do not have.
Yeah, no question. Adding to that, he attends Huber Heights Wayne, which, if you're looking to have pipelines set up around the state, that's your Dayton pipeline right now. All the players are matriculating to Wayne. Secondly, don't be surprised to see Blue Smith start his senior year at about 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is, and about 200 pounds. I saw him work out the other day. He is not built like a tight end. He is a long, strong athlete, but the idea that he'd be an inline blocker is just foreign. I don't think he's ever done that, and it's not a specialty, so we shall see. We appreciate Duane stopping by to get the recruiting knowledge on here. Sorry to those of you that thought this would be a lot of basketball chatter. We'll try and be better next time. Have a good one, Bucknutters.